The transmission arrived at precisely 3:47 Universal Time, cutting through the global communication networks like a phantom. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stared at the holographic display, her fingers tracing the intricate geometric patterns that danced around the central message. The signal bore no recognizable origin point, yet it carried an unmistakable sense of weight and significance. "Attention, planetary collective of Earth," the message began, its words shifting between languages with impossible fluidity. "Your civilization has been selected for the Universal Potential Assessment." Global reaction was instantaneous and chaotic. News networks erupted with speculation, government communication channels buzzed with urgent discussions, and social media platforms exploded with theories ranging from elaborate hoax to first contact scenario. The message contained no threats, no demands, only an invitation and a cryptic set of parameters for a test that no known species had ever successfully completed. Elena knew she was being watched. As the lead systems analyst for the Global Emergent Technologies Division, she had built a reputation for approaching impossible problems with calculated precision. Her office at the United Research Center was a testament to her methodology. Walls lined with complex neural network diagrams, holographic data streams constantly flickering, and a collection of solved computational challenges that had stumped the world's top minds. "This isn't just another challenge," she muttered to herself, reviewing the transmission's underlying data patterns. Something about the signal's quantum encryption suggested technologies far beyond current human understanding. The selection process began within hours. Governments and research institutions worldwide collaborated to identify individuals who could potentially represent humanity's best hope. It wasn't about individual brilliance, but about collective potential, adaptive thinking, and the ability to approach challenges from entirely unexpected angles. Commander Michael Chen arrived at the research center 3 days after the transmission. A strategic operations expert with a background in complex systems management, he brought a military precision balanced by an almost philosophical approach to problem solving. His file was extraordinary. Degrees in quantum mechanics, computational theory, and cross-cultural communication, coupled with practical experience in managing high-stress international collaborations. "We're not just selecting a team," Dr. Amara Okoro explained during the initial briefing. "We're assembling a living system that can respond to challenges we can't even imagine yet." Okoro herself was a marvel of interdisciplinary thinking. A cultural dynamics expert with a deep understanding of human psychology and systemic behavior, she saw potential where others saw limitations. Her research had already revolutionized understanding of collective intelligence, showing how diverse perspectives could solve seemingly impossible challenges. The selection process was brutal. Thousands of candidates underwent a battery of tests that defied traditional assessment methods. Psychological evaluations merged with real-time problem-solving scenarios. Candidates were observed not just for individual performance, but for how they collaborated, adapted, and supported one another. Cell, the alien observer assigned to monitor humanity's preparation, watched with growing intrigue. Stationed in a cloaked observation point just outside Earth's orbital range, the seasoned assessment specialist had witnessed the failures of countless civilizations. Humanity seemed different, unpredictable, complex, potentially dangerous in their ability to challenge established galactic paradigms. As the final team was being assembled, the world held its collective breath. No one knew exactly what the test would entail, but everyone understood that something extraordinary was about to unfold. Humanity's greatest challenge was about to begin. The archive room hummed with an eerie silence. Holographic displays flickered around Dr. Elena Rodriguez, casting blue-white shadows across stacks of recovered data fragments. These were the remnants of previous civilizations' test attempts, a graveyard of cosmic potential. "This doesn't make sense," Elena muttered, adjusting the quantum-enhanced data filter. Fragments of alien communication danced across the screens, each piece a puzzle that seemed to defy traditional understanding. Dr. Amara Okoro entered the room, carrying a compact data repository that looked like nothing more than a small metallic sphere. "I've been cross-referencing the communication patterns," she said, her voice calm but charged with excitement. "The test isn't just an evaluation, it's a conversation." Commander Michael Chen spread out a series of holographic projections, each representing a different species that had previously attempted the universal assessment: reptilian civilizations from binary star systems, crystalline intelligence networks, collective consciousness entities. Each had failed, their attempts marked by fundamental limitations in thinking, collaboration, or ethical comprehension. "Look at the pattern," Michael pointed out, manipulating the projections. Every single civilization approached the test as a competition. They tried to outsmart the system, to find loopholes, to prove their superiority. A recovered transmission from the Zerlath Collective caught Elena's attention. The species had been highly advanced, capable of manipulating quantum states and controlling complex energy systems. Yet their test attempt had collapsed within hours, their collective intelligence fragmenting under pressure. "The test adapts," Amara explained, studying the Zerlath data. "It's not a static challenge. It responds, evolves, creates scenarios that expose fundamental weaknesses in a civilization's approach to problem-solving." Cell, the alien observer, had granted them limited access to historical test data. Each piece of information came with implicit warnings, subtle hints that humanity was treading into territory most species feared to explore. A breakthrough came unexpectedly. Elena discovered a subtle quantum encryption method hidden within the communication fragments. It wasn't just a method of securing information, it was a language of potential, of adaptive thinking. "It's recursive," she said, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "The test doesn't just evaluate, it learns. It's looking for something beyond technological capability or raw intelligence." Commander Chen leaned in, his strategic mind connecting seemingly unrelated data points. "Adaptability," he said softly. "The ability to fundamentally change approach when confronted with unknown variables." The team worked in a unique rhythm, where traditional research teams might compete or work in isolated specialties. This group moved like a single organism. Elena's computational insights merged with Amara's psychological understanding. Michael's strategic thinking complemented their analytical approaches. Prevail observed their collaboration with increasing fascination. Humanity was displaying a type of collective intelligence that defied the observer's extensive experience. They weren't just solving problems, they were redefining the very concept of problem-solving. As night fell outside the research center, the team continued their investigation. Fragments of alien history, quantum encrypted messages, and complex data streams surrounded them. They were decoding more than just a test. They were unraveling a cosmic method of understanding intelligent life itself. "We're close to something," Elena said, her eyes reflecting the holographic displays. "Whatever this test is, it's looking for something that goes beyond what any known civilization has ever understood." The real challenge was just beginning. The first test module materialized without warning. One moment, the research center's primary analysis chamber was empty. The next, a shimmering holographic landscape filled the space, complex geometric shapes shifting and pulsing with an almost living quality. Initialization sequence detected. The room's quantum interface announced in a voice that seemed to resonate from everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. Commander Michael Chen stood perfectly still, his military training allowing him to process the sudden environmental shift with remarkable calm. Dr. Elena Rodriguez was already interfacing with the holographic system, her fingers tracing complex data patterns that emerged and dissolved with each movement. "It's not just a test," Elena muttered, "it's a living problem-solving environment." The first challenge appeared deceptively simple. A complex network of interconnected systems, technological, biological, and something that defied traditional categorization, demanded a comprehensive solution. Previous species had approached such challenges with rigid linear thinking. The human team saw something entirely different. Dr. Amara Okoro began mapping the relationships between system components, her expertise in cultural dynamics, revealing intricate connections that went beyond mere technological interfaces. Look, she pointed out, the systems aren't competing. They're trying to communicate. Michael's strategic mind started breaking down the challenge, but not in the way a traditional military strategist would. He saw the problem as a cooperative challenge, a puzzle to be solved through collective intelligence rather than competitive elimination. Sale, the alien observer, watched with increasing fascination. The human approach was fundamentally different from any previous civilization's method. Where others would seek to dominate or circumvent the system, these humans were attempting to understand it. The first module tested systems integration, ecological balance, and adaptive problem-solving. A simulation of a multi-planetary ecosystem appeared, its delicate balance constantly shifting. Previous species had typically tried to control the system, introducing external solutions that ultimately caused catastrophic collapse. The human team took a different approach. Elena developed a real-time adaptive algorithm that could respond to the ecosystem's changes. Michael identified potential stress points and developed flexible intervention strategies. Amara analyzed the cultural and biological interactions within the system. Their solution wasn't about finding a single correct answer. It was about creating a dynamic, responsive approach that could evolve with the changing environment. Cell's monitoring systems began to register readings that defied previous assessment protocols. The humans weren't just solving the problem, they were fundamentally reframing what a solution could mean. As the first module reached its conclusion, the holographic environment began to shift. Complex data streams erupted around the team, analyzing every micro-decision, every moment of collaborative thinking. Fascinating, Elena whispered, watching the data patterns dance. The alien observation system recorded something unprecedented. Where previous civilizations had approached the test as a challenge to be conquered, the humans treated it as a conversation. Each solution was not an endpoint, but a beginning, an opportunity to learn, to adapt, to understand. Commander Chen looked at his team. They had passed the first challenge, but they all understood this was merely the beginning. The true test was just starting to reveal itself. Sal's quantum communication systems hummed with an emotion that almost resembled excitement. Almost. The testing environment shifted, becoming more abstract and challenging. Holographic scenarios materialized around the team, each representing a complex ethical dilemma that seemed to pulse with moral weight and emotional complexity. Dr. Amara Okoro took the lead, her expertise in cultural dynamics and ethical systems coming to the forefront. The scenarios were not simple right or wrong propositions, but intricate challenges that tested the very fabric of collective decision-making. This isn't about finding a perfect solution, Amara explained to her teammates, her voice calm and analytical. It's about understanding the depth of our collective reasoning. The first scenario emerged, a simulation of limited resources on a multi-planetary system. Previous civilizations had typically approached such challenges through strict hierarchical selection or cold mathematical calculations. The human team saw something entirely different. Commander Michael Chen analyzed the resource distribution patterns, but not from a purely strategic perspective. He looked at the human connections, the potential for collective survival, the intricate web of interdependence that went beyond simple survival metrics. Dr. Elena Rodriguez began developing a dynamic allocation algorithm that didn't just distribute resources, but created adaptive pathways for mutual support and shared growth. Her approach was less about optimization and more about collective resilience. Exhale, the alien observer noted something unprecedented in the team's approach. They weren't trying to solve the problem in isolation. Instead, they were constantly communicating, challenging each other's assumptions, and developing solutions that considered multiple perspectives. The ethical scenarios grew more complex. One challenge presented a situation where saving one group might mean potential risk to another. Previous civilizations had typically defaulted to protecting their primary group, often at the expense of others. The human team took a different approach. We can't just look at immediate survival, Amara argued, her holographic display showing complex, interconnected social networks. We need to consider long-term collaborative potential. Michael's strategic mind mapped out potential intervention strategies that minimized overall harm. Elena developed computational models that could predict cascading effects of their decisions. Their approach was holistic, considering not just immediate outcomes, but potential future implications. Excel's monitoring systems began to register readings that defied previous assessment protocols. The humans weren't just making ethical choices. They were redefining the very concept of ethical decision-making. The team's discussions were passionate but never hostile. They challenged each other's perspectives, asked probing questions, and sought to understand the deeper implications of their choices. Where previous civilizations had seen ethical challenges as zero-sum games, the humans saw them as opportunities for collective growth. One particularly challenging scenario tested the limits of individual sacrifice for collective benefit. The holographic environment became intensely personal, presenting scenarios that touched on deep emotional and philosophical questions. It's not about who we save, Elena said during one intense discussion. It's about how we create systems that support everyone's potential. Sale observed something remarkable. The humans weren't just solving ethical challenges. They were engaging in a profound dialogue about the nature of collective existence, about interconnectedness, about the delicate balance between individual needs and collective well-being. As the ethical complexity module reached its conclusion, the observation systems registered something unprecedented. The human team hadn't just passed the challenges, they had transformed the very nature of the assessment. The true test was revealing itself, layer by intricate layer. The testing environment transformed into a landscape of pure potential. Technological challenges materialized around the team, defying conventional understanding of physics, communication, and systemic integration. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of a holographic maelstrom, her mind racing faster than the computational systems surrounding her. This was more than a technological challenge. It was a test of innovative thinking, of seeing beyond established paradigms. "We're not just solving problems," she muttered, her fingers dancing across quantum interface projections. "We're rewriting the language of problem-solving itself." The first technological scenario presented an impossibly complex system of interconnected networks. Previous civilizations had approached such challenges with rigid, hierarchical methodologies. The human team saw something entirely different, a living, breathing ecosystem of potential solutions. Commander Michael Chen approached the challenge from a strategic perspective that defied traditional military thinking. He didn't see barriers, he saw opportunities for collaborative integration. Each technological obstacle became a chance for creative reimagining. Dr. Amara Okoro's expertise in cultural dynamics proved crucial. She identified patterns of communication and interaction that went far beyond traditional technological interfaces. Where others saw separate systems, she recognized intricate networks of potential connection. Sale, the alien observer, watched with increasing fascination. The human approach was fundamentally transformative. They weren't trying to conquer the technological challenge. They were attempting to understand its fundamental nature, to communicate with it rather than control it. The challenge evolved rapidly. Technological scenarios shifted between multiple dimensions, testing the team's ability to adapt, to think beyond linear problem-solving. Quantum entanglement merged with biological systems. Communication protocols defied established scientific understanding. Elena developed an adaptive algorithm that could reshape itself in real time. It wasn't just a solution, it was a living, breathing approach to technological challenge. Each modification became an opportunity for further understanding. Michael identified potential integration points that most analytical systems would have overlooked. His strategic mind saw connections where others would see only chaos. He understood that true innovation comes from seeing potential where others see limitations. Amara's insights provided the crucial human element. She helped the team understand that technological innovation isn't just about computational power. It's about understanding the deeper connections between systems, between ideas, between potential approaches. The observation systems began to register readings that defied previous assessment protocols. The humans weren't just solving technological challenges. They were fundamentally reimagining what a solution could be. One particularly challenging scenario presented a communication network that seemed impossible to integrate. Previous civilizations had typically attempted to force compatibility or simply abandon the challenge. The human team took a radically different approach. "We're not trying to make it work," Elena explained to her teammates. "We're trying to understand its inherent communication language." Michael mapped out potential interaction points. Amara analyzed the deeper communication patterns. Their approach was holistic, seeing the challenge as a conversation rather than a problem to be solved. Scal's monitoring systems registered something unprecedented. The humans were developing a type of technological empathy, an ability to understand systems not through domination, but through deep collaborative communication. As the technological innovation module reached its conclusion, the testing environment seemed to pause. Something fundamental had shifted. The humans hadn't just solved the challenges. They had transformed the very nature of technological understanding. The true test was revealing itself, layer by intricate layer. The testing environment became a crucible of psychological and strategic challenges. Holographic projections swirled with increasing intensity, creating scenarios designed to push the human team to their absolute limits. Commander Michael Chen felt the first tremors of genuine challenge. The scenarios were no longer linear tests, but complex, multi-dimensional challenges that attacked the very foundations of human potential. Each moment tested not just individual capabilities, but the team's collective resilience. Dr. Elena Rodriguez noticed the fundamental shift first. The test was no longer evaluating their problem-solving skills. It was probing the deepest aspects of human consciousness, challenging their understanding of collaboration, individual potential, and collective intelligence. "This isn't just a test," Elena muttered, her fingers tracing complex data patterns that seemed to breathe with living intelligence. "It's a conversation with the very nature of consciousness." The scenarios became increasingly personal. Holographic projections created situations that challenged each team member's deepest fears, most profound vulnerabilities. Where previous civilizations had crumbled under such psychological pressure, the human team found an unexpected strength. Dr. Amara Okoro recognized the test's true nature. It wasn't about breaking them. It was about understanding how they responded to ultimate challenges. Each scenario was a complex probe into human adaptability, emotional intelligence, and collective problem-solving. Sale, the alien observer, watched with increasing intensity. The human team was displaying a type of resilience that defied all previous observational data. They weren't just resisting the challenges, they were transforming them. One particularly intense scenario materialized. A complex simulation that simultaneously challenged their technological, ethical, and psychological capabilities. Previous civilizations would have fragmented, their collective intelligence collapsing under the weight of such comprehensive pressure. The human team did something entirely unexpected. Instead of competing or breaking down, they leaned into their collective strengths. Michael's strategic thinking merged with Elena's computational insights. Amara's understanding of human dynamics provided a crucial layer of emotional intelligence. "We're stronger together," Michael said during a particularly challenging moment. "Our differences are our greatest strength." The test seemed to respond to their approach. Scenarios became more intricate, more challenging. But the human team's resilience grew with each challenge. They weren't just solving problems. They were redefining the very concept of problem-solving. Elena developed adaptive algorithms that could reshape themselves in real time. Michael identified strategic approaches that went beyond traditional linear thinking. Amara provided the crucial human element, understanding the emotional and cultural dimensions of their challenges. Cell's monitoring systems began to register readings that defied all previous assessment protocols. The humans were displaying a type of collective intelligence that was fundamentally different from anything previously observed. The most critical moment came unexpectedly, a scenario that seemed designed to create absolute division, to break the team's collective spirit. Previous civilizations would have collapsed, their collaborative potential shattering under such intense psychological pressure. The human team did something remarkable. They listened. They communicated. They found solutions that went beyond individual perspectives, creating a collective approach that was greater than the sum of its parts. This isn't about being right, Amara explained during a tense moment. This is about understanding each other. As the critical turning point module reached its conclusion, the testing environment seemed to pause. Something fundamental had shifted. The humans hadn't just survived the challenges, they had transformed them. The true test was revealing itself, layer by intricate layer. The final stage of the test materialized with a breathtaking complexity that defied previous comprehension. Reality itself seemed to become fluid, challenging everything the human team understood about existence, intelligence, and potential. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the epicenter of a quantum reality that shifted and breathed with living intelligence. Her computational systems were no longer tools, but extensions of a collective consciousness that was rapidly evolving. "We're not just solving a test," she whispered, her voice resonating through multiple dimensional layers. "We're having a conversation with the fundamental nature of intelligence itself." Commander Michael Chen observed the transformative landscape, his strategic mind finding patterns where others would see only chaos. The scenario was simultaneously a test, a communication, and an invitation to understand something beyond human, or any known species' current comprehension. Dr. Amara Okoro recognized the profound nature of their challenge. This was more than an evaluation. It was a dialogue about the very essence of collective potential, of how intelligent systems could grow, adapt, and truly understand one another. Sale, the alien observer, experienced something unprecedented. The monitoring systems were no longer just recording. They were participating, changing, evolving alongside the human team's approach. The scenarios became increasingly complex. Challenges emerged that simultaneously tested technological capability, ethical reasoning, psychological resilience, and something entirely beyond previous understanding. Dimensional barriers dissolved. Communication became multisensory, transcending language, moving beyond traditional information exchange. The human team's approach was revolutionary. Where previous civilizations had seen challenges as obstacles to overcome, they saw them as opportunities for mutual understanding. Each scenario became a conversation, a collaborative exploration of potential. Elena's computational systems began to develop adaptive algorithms that could reshape reality itself. Michael's strategic thinking expanded beyond linear progression, seeing potential connections that defied traditional logic. Amara's understanding of human dynamics provided a crucial layer of empathetic intelligence. Something fundamental was happening. The test was no longer external. It had become a living dialogue, a mutual exploration of potential that transformed both the observers and the observed. "We're not competing," Michael said during a particularly intense moment. "We're communicating." The scenarios pushed beyond all previous limitations. Technological challenges merged with ethical dilemmas. Psychological barriers dissolved. The very concept of individual and collective intelligence began to reshape itself. Cell's monitoring systems registered something truly unprecedented. The humans weren't just passing the test. They were fundamentally reimagining what intelligence could be. Their approach was not about domination or survival, but about understanding, growth, and collective potential. The most critical moment came unexpectedly. A scenario that seemed to challenge the very foundations of existence itself. Previous civilizations would have fragmented, their understanding collapsing under the weight of such comprehensive complexity. The human team did something remarkable. They embraced the complexity. They found connections where others would see only chaos. They demonstrated an ability to grow, to adapt, to understand that went far beyond any previously observed intelligence. This is about potential, Amara explained, her voice resonating through multiple layers of reality. Not just human potential, but the potential of intelligence itself. As the transformative revelation module reached its conclusion, something extraordinary happened. The testing environment didn't just end, it transformed. The boundaries between test, observers, and participants dissolved. The true test had revealed itself not as a challenge to be conquered, but as a conversation to be understood. Humanity had not just passed the test, they had redefined the very concept of testing. The moment of revelation arrived with a silence more profound than any sound could capture. Representatives from every known galactic civilization gathered in a massive quantum conference chamber, their collective anticipation palpable. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Commander Michael Chen, and Dr. Amara Okoro stood together, transformed by their journey. They were no longer just individual team members. They had become something more, a living testament to humanity's extraordinary potential. Sale, the alien observer who had witnessed countless civilizational assessments, stepped forward. The being's quantum-based form shimmered with an emotion that resembled both excitement and profound respect. In the entire recorded history of galactic civilization, Sale announced, their voice resonating across multiple communication spectrums, humanity is the first species to not only complete the universal potential assessment, but to fundamentally transform the very nature of the evaluation. The holographic displays began to show highlights of humanity's unprecedented journey. Each challenge, each moment of collaboration, each breakthrough was laid bare for all to witness. The galactic representatives watched in stunned silence. What they saw was not a victory of technological superiority or military might. It was a demonstration of something far more profound, a unique approach to intelligence that prioritized understanding, collaboration, and collective growth. Michael Chen's strategic insights had revealed an approach to problem-solving that went beyond traditional linear thinking. Elena Rodriguez's computational methods had shown how intelligence could be adaptive, empathetic, and transformative. Amara Okoro's understanding of human dynamics had proven that true potential lies in recognizing the value of diverse perspectives. The testing environment itself seemed to have been fundamentally altered by humanity's approach. Where previous civilizations had seen challenges as obstacles to be conquered, humans had transformed the very concept of assessment into a dialogue of mutual understanding. We are not here to prove superiority, Elena explained to the gathered representatives. We are here to demonstrate the potential of collaborative intelligence. Representatives from crystalline consciousness networks, quantum-based life forms, and biological collectives listened in awe. The human team had done more than pass a test. They had offered a new way of understanding intelligence itself. Sale presented the final assessment. Humanity had not just passed the test. They had rewritten the parameters of what was possible. Their approach demonstrated a type of intelligence that was simultaneously adaptable, empathetic, innovative, collectively focused, fundamentally open to growth. The implications were staggering. Humanity was being offered something unprecedented, a role as mediators, innovators, and collaborative partners in the galactic community. Not as conquerors, but as bridge builders. Michael Chen looked at his teammates. They had entered this process as individuals representing humanity. They were emerging as something entirely new, ambassadors of a fundamentally different approach to existence. This is not an ending, Amara said, her voice calm and filled with possibility. This is a beginning. The quantum conference chamber began to dissolve, replaced by a holographic representation of potential futures. Countless paths of possibility stretched out before them, each one shimmering with the promise of collective potential. Humanity had passed the test, but more importantly, they had shown that the true measure of intelligence is not about conquering challenges, but about understanding them. The universe watched and waited,